So, I popped into High House Insurance to see if they could quote for my house insurance rather than using the internet. High House got a great deal. So to celebrate, I bought a posh hairdo. It made me look beautiful, gorgeous enough to become a highly paid model. I then won Celebrity Big Brother. I had an affair with an MP. Now I'm promoting a doll of me that says, "Cool blimey, you're well fit."
Happy things happen when you talk face-to-face with High House Insurance. See if we can beat your home insurance quote from the internet. Find us on the High Street, Selsey, or call 606 552.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to Manhood Internet Radio. I'm Tony Wiener, your host for this show. Well, sadly, we've just said goodbye to January, and where did that go? And we're in February now, which is still a bit miserable, but I'm sure our programme will bring in the sun. So, what delectables do we have for you this week? To get you started with the new month, Kevin kicks the show off with another brain warmer, and we then go over to Alison with a roundup of the events on the Manhood. For those that don't know what a companion dog is, Teresa will tell us all, and while we're on the subject of wildlife, Keith talks to Joe Saville about the wonderful work done by the Manhood Wildlife and Heritage Group. That should put us in the mood for some physical nourishment, and we go over to Keith's kitchen for more sumptuous food. With that under our belt, we go over to Roberta to find out what's on her mind this week. Okay then, to get us started, here we go with another Kevin Brain Basher.
Right, hiya, here's Kevin with this week's Connections quiz. 5 questions, 5 general knowledge questions, but what connects all the answers? And here we go with question number 1 this week. Question number 1, Hertford, Jesus and Balliol are all colleges at which British university? Question number 2, Pete Doherty, Oscar Wilde and actor John Alford have all served time in which London prison? Question number 3. What was first implemented in Britain by William Pitt the Younger in his 1798 budget, and you're probably still paying for it now? Question number 4. Which English city was the European Capital of Culture in 2008? Possibly a surprise choice. And question number 5, football question. At which football club did Gary Lineker start his career? He still supports them. Which football club? So that's your 5 questions, 5 answers. What connects all the answers? Good luck.
Thank you, Kevin. More work for Google, I suspect. But before you do that, it's over to Alison for another roundup of events and the timetable.
Hello there, and welcome once again to our weekly look at what's going on in Selsey and the rest of the Manhood Peninsula. First of all, on Wednesday the 8th of February, there's quite an interesting afternoon coming up, which I did mention last week. It's called Freedom at the End of Life. It's a talk and workshop and is going to be held at the Selsey Centre. Now, this is a workshop for all seniors, for families, for carers and for health professionals. You'd be very welcome to attend this. It's the chance to learn what structures are available to help people get their lives in order, to give clarity at this stage in people's lives, and the idea is to create a peace of mind about this subject. So if that's something that would be of interest to you, then why not go along? There's a cup of tea, a chat, be informed, chance to ask questions, and to generally be a little bit more in the picture. The person running this is called Gail Palmer, and she's created the first Great Guidelines for Later Life programme. This is what she specialises in. And this course, The Freedom at the End of Life, takes a stand for families and their seniors, how to find the information that you need, and then to choose what pathway is right for you and your particular circumstances. The workshop promises to unite various professionals, including IFA, accountants, funeral directors, bereavement counsellors, a solicitor, and many more other professionals, so that you can get your questions answered, or at least know where to turn to help when you want to get things in order. If you'd like more information before you go along, you can try www.greatguidelinesforlaterlife.com. So that's Freedom at the End of Life between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock on Wednesday the 8th at the Selsey Centre. Of course, while that's going on, we've still got our regular events here in Selsey. Between 10 and 12 on Wednesdays, it's the Selsey Model Boat Club, provided the weather's good, at East Beach Pond. And then in the afternoon, it's the WI meeting between 2:15 and 3:15. Nick Carter will be speaking at Selsey Town Hall. If you're interested in that, then Stella 01243 603 221, or Heather is the other person on 604 603. So that's the monthly WI meeting in the afternoon on Wednesday. In the evening, of course, on Wednesdays, it's Selsey Community Choir. They meet at the Methodist Hall in the High Street. They start at 7 and finish at 8:30. On the 9th, that's Thursday, it's the day for jigsaw puzzles. You can call into the Jigsaw Puzzle Club between 10 and 4. That's at 14 Green Lane in Selsey. You can pick up a puzzle which you're allowed to keep for 1 month, and the cost for that is £1. So that's the Jigsaw Puzzle Club. In the morning, it's mobile soft play as usual at the Selsey Centre. This is for the under 5s between 10 and 11:30. Sue and Tom are the contacts on 604 642. Then moving on to the evening, Whist Drive will be held at the Selsey Club on Cox's Road at 7:30. Also at 7:30, it's time for our film. We've got Bridget Jones's Baby this week. So that's 7:30 as well at the Town Hall, and there's a £5 admission charge for that. Adult kickboxing takes place on Thursdays between 8 and 9 at the Selsey Centre. Then Friday the 10th of February, the National Blood Service will be here in Selsey at the Selsey Centre between 2 and 4 and 5:30 to 7:45, so that's your chance to give blood. In the afternoon, it's mindful music making at the shop on the High Street between 2 o'clock and 3:30. If you'd like to book a place, you do need to speak to Anna. Her number is 07912 609 437. That's 07912 609 437. Anna with her mindful music making. On Saturday, between 8:30 and 4:30, there's a wildlife photography workshop, which is an introduction to the basic techniques for wildlife photography. That's being held at Pagham Harbour at the RSPB Visitor Centre. The cost for that is £18, or if you're an RSPB member, down to £14. You do have to book though, so the number to ring is 641 508. Other things happening on Saturday: kickboxing for 4 to 6-year-olds beginning at 9:45 at the Selsey Centre and 10:30 in the morning for a family class. There's also a painting day between 10 and 4, a drawing and painting day, I should say. Information about that can be found with Angela Benwell. Her number is 603 332. It's a portrait and clothed figure painting day in any medium with Anita Beckwith. That's being held at St Wilfrid's Church Hall, and the cost for that day is £20. Later in the evening, between 6 and 10, there's a quiz night, meal and a raffle at Selsey Methodist Church. There's a £5 entry fee. If you want to book, you need to ring 601 032 or 601 439. So that's the quiz night, meal and raffle. On Sunday, the 12th of February, between 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock, there's a tabletop sale at the Selsey Centre. Buyers may turn up at 9 o'clock, so sellers at 8 and buyers at 9. Again, it's the Selsey Model Boat Club, depending on the weather. They meet down at East Beach Pond between 10 and 12 on Sunday. On Monday the 13th, another movie, starting at 1 o'clock, finishing at 3:30. Showboat is being shown at Selsey Town Hall. Booking for that in advance is a must. 201 616 for that. So that's Showboat at Selsey Town Hall. On Tuesday the 14th, time again for mobile soft play for the under 5s between 10 o'clock and 11:30. Sue or Tom again, 604 642. Tuesday is also the day for the Selsey Carers Coffee Morning at 10:30 at their shop on 109 High Street. VIPs meet between 2 and 4 in the afternoon at Hanover Close, and the RNA have their monthly meeting at 8 o'clock at the Selsey Club on Cox's Road. Just should also mention that at 6:30 to 7:30, it's time for kids kickboxing. The 4 to 6-year-olds meet at 4:30 and the over 6s at 5 o'clock. Now let's have a look at what's going on at the Witterings and Bracklesham. Let's do the specials first of all. On Friday the 10th of February, it's time for South Coast Networking. Their 11s meeting between 11 o'clock and 12:30 at Harbour Way Country Club. On Saturday the 11th, it's Valentine's evening at West Wittering Village Hall between 7:30 and 10:30 in aid of the St Wilfrid's Hospice. Tickets are £15, that does include supper. You can buy those from Jean on 670799 or Roger on 673490. So that's the Valentine's evening supper. On Monday the 13th of February, afternoon teas will be held at Bracklesham Barn between 2:30 and 4:30. And then on Tuesday the 14th, it'll be meet and greet at West Wittering Memorial Hall for coffee, games, homemade soup and a roll. That starts at 10:15 and finishes at 1. Let's have a look now at all those regular events that happen at the Witterings and Bracklesham. On Wednesdays, of course, table tennis, drop in and play for adults at the barn between 10 and 12. And also on Wednesdays, it's CBT motorcycle training at the barn between 9 and 11. You do have to pre-book for that one. Later in the afternoon, belly dancing with Step Inside at the barn between 1 and 2. And then in the evening, Zumba with Louise as usual between 6:30 and 7:30. There's also line dancing on a Wednesday at the Royal British Legion between 7 and 9, and all will be made very welcome at that one. On Thursdays, it's the Busy Bugs Toddler Gym at Bracklesham Barn between 9:15 and 12:15. Don't forget Stitch and Yarn meet at the Witterings Medical Centre between 10:30 and 12:30, and of course over at East Wittering Library, it's Knit and Natter between 11 and 12:30. The Witterings Master Art Group meets between 10 and 12 at West Wittering Memorial Hall on Thursdays. And then in the afternoons, there's a Keep Fit exercise class at East Wittering Village Hall between 2 and 3. And the West Wittering Short Mat Bowls. Now they have several sessions, 10 to 12 and 2 until 4. Both of those at West Wittering Memorial Hall. Chris, you need to speak to on that one. 07788 11 1325. I'll just repeat that number. 07788 11 1325. That's Chris with the Short Mat Bowls. There's Pilates Mixed Ability between 6 and 7 at East Wittering Village Hall on a Thursday. And there's also private ballroom and Latin at 7 o'clock at East Wittering Village Hall. If you are interested in that, then you need to book on www.strictlydancinguk.co.uk. Don't forget the Junior Youth Club for children 8 to 12-year-old meet at the Youth Centre between 5 and 6:30. And then for the older ones, the seniors, 12 to 17-year-olds, also at the Youth Centre between 6:30 and 8:30. And on a Thursday, it's open mic night at Pond Barn beginning at 8 o'clock. Every Friday, there's Pilates at Bracklesham Barn between 9:30 and 10:30. In the afternoon, there's Short Mat Bowls again at the barn, 2 until 4. Coastliners line dancing takes place between 2 and 5 at East Wittering Village Hall, and it's also the UK Film Academy at the barn between 5 and 9. Jukebox night, of course, happens on a Friday at Pond Barn between 7 and midnight. And again, we've got private ballroom and Latin at 7 at the East Wittering Village Hall. If you want to book for that, www.strictlydancinguk.co.uk. Every Sunday at the barn, it's the Windrush Church meeting between 10:30 and 12:45. And then in the evenings on Sundays, modern jive dancing between 7:30 until 9 at East Wittering Village Hall. And of course, it's Pond Barn Quiz Night at 8 o'clock. On a Monday, Little Ducklings Mother and Toddler Group meet at Bracklesham Barn between 9:30 and 11:30, and alongside that there's Short Mat Bowls between 10:30 and 1. Weight Watchers takes place at 5:30 on a Monday at East Wittering Village Hall, and then to help you lose some more weight, why not try line dancing between 7 and 10 at East Wittering Village Hall again. Time for yoga with Elaine at Bracklesham Barn in the evenings between 7 and 8:30. Or you could try ARO Ladies Beginner Kickboxing with Verity. That's at Bracklesham Barn between 7:30 and 8:30. On Tuesdays, little explorers have their play and learn together at Bracklesham Barn between 9:30 and 11. And it's also the day for meet and greet at West Wittering Memorial Hall for coffee, games, homemade soup and a roll, 10:15 until 1. Elaine is doing yoga as usual at the barn between 10 and 11. And in the afternoon there's a Keep Fit exercise class at East Wittering's Village Hall between 2 and 3. Later on, Tai Chi at Bracklesham Barn between 4 and 5. And in the evening, it's the Community Pop Choir rehearsing at West Wittering Memorial Hall between 7 and 9. At the barn, between 7:30 and 9:30, it'll be the Badminton Club. And of course, there's free pool at Pond Barn every Tuesday. So, loads to do this week. Let's have a look now at the weather to help you decide whether or not you want to do an indoor activity or whether you want to venture out. Wednesday, the 8th of February, a high of 45 degrees Fahrenheit or 7 degrees Celsius, but with thick cloud, northerly wind at 11 miles an hour. On Thursday the 9th, thick cloud again, slightly lower temperature, 41 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 Celsius, same wind speed, 11. That this time is from the east. On Friday the 10th, temperatures dropping slightly more, I'm afraid, down to 39 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius. Again, a thick cloud cover, slightly higher wind speed, 13 miles an hour, and that will be an east-northeasterly. Temperatures increasing for the weekend, I'm pleased to say. Saturday the 11th, 45 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 degrees Celsius. So that's our warmest day of the week. Light cloud cover, 14 miles an hour wind, southeasterly. On Sunday the 12th, 41 degrees Fahrenheit or 5 degrees Celsius. Again, light cloud, 13 mile an hour wind, north-northeasterly. So I think that may feel a little bit colder. On Monday the 13th, same temperatures, but this will be a sunny day, 13 mile an hour east-northeasterly wind. And Tuesday the 14th, also another sunny day and slightly warmer, 43 degrees Fahrenheit, 6 degrees Celsius, 11 mile an hour wind, east-northeasterly again. Let's have a look now at the tide to see whether you want to walk along the beach. High tide on Wednesday will be 9:05 in the morning and a low tide at 10 to 3 in the afternoon, changing of course throughout the week, ending on Tuesday the 14th with a low at 1:30 in the afternoon and a high tide at 7:20 in the evening. So I hope that helps you plan your week, and I look forward to speaking to you again next week. Bye for now.
Excellent, thank you, Alison. For those of you that don't know what a companion dog is, Keith talks to Teresa for an answer.
Now with me now, I've got a lady that could talk for hours on my least favourite subject, which is dogs. Now, with me I've got Teresa White, and Teresa's going to be talking about buying companion dogs for all the wrong reasons. Good morning, Teresa.
Morning, Keith.
How are you?
Not too bad. Good. Cold.
Yeah, well, it's a bit fresh out there today, that's for sure. Now, companion dogs.
Yes.
Tell us.
Well, I've had cases over the holidays of people not just buying a dog for Christmas, but buying a dog for their dog for Christmas, which gets a bit ridiculous.
Oh, I thought the companion dogs were companions for the people.
No, companions for the other dogs that they've already got.
Oh, right.
Usually they've got one dog and feel it's okay to go out for various reasons, usually all the wrong ones, to buy another dog to keep their dog company. Now, if a dog's got behavioural problems, buying another dog for it is not going to fix the behavioural problems. Certainly the main one that I see is separation anxiety. And it's my bugbear. I really get on my soapbox about this, because if you make it an integral part of the puppy's training or a rescue dog, if you get a rescue dog, that you leave it for a few minutes and then expand your time very, very gradually in baby steps, from the day you get it, go through your routine, pick up your keys, make sure it's got a nice bed, make sure it's been to the toilet, it's had something to eat, make sure there's water down, leave it something to do, like a Kong toy with some special treats in it, or a bone, or a new toy that you can rip up while you're not there.
Or tear up the sofa.
No, it won't if you do it properly. Mind you, I did have a dog that did that once, but that's another story. And then leave it just for a few minutes. Shut the door wherever you're going to leave it. I don't advise giving it the run of the house. Put it in either kitchen, bathroom, utility room. If it's in a utility room or a bathroom, make sure there's no poisonous things it can get hold of, like the soap powder or the shower gel or something like that. Then just go out, don't say anything, leave a radio on, shut the door, go out, even go out the front door and shut the front door. Then turn around and come back. Let the dog out. Just tell him he's been a good boy. Don't make a big fuss. Then with any luck, if you build this time up gradually and gradually, you won't have any problems with leaving the dog when you suddenly decide either you've got to go back to work, or the novelty's worn off, or you have an emergency and you've got to go out. You can't stay in 24/7 with a dog. And that's what people do for the first few weeks or months of its life. And then all of a sudden they're oh so surprised when they turn round, walk out the door, and the dog trashes the place.
So people are now buying dogs to keep those dogs company
because
couldn't you end up with two bad dogs?
Yes.
If you've got one bad one to start with,
yes,
and you're buying another dog to go with it to try and calm it down, couldn't you end up with two bad ones?
Very much so. And you can also end up with the fact that you'll get two perfectly lovely dogs that normally get on, but if one's a stressor, then it'll go into the separation anxiety stress mode, and of course it'll fight the other one, because the other one, as soon as one dog sees another dog that's a weak member of the pack, its innate nature is to eradicate it. So they have a fight. You know, and normally it's two dogs, as I said, that get on perfectly well together. So this buying a companion dog for your dog needs a lot of thinking about. I'm not anti-multi-dog households. I have 5 dogs myself, but I've introduced them all properly, and I've made sure that they're left, you know, for small periods of time. Each one, as they've come into the pack, I've built up its confidence, and always make sure it's got, when you've got a multi-pack household, it's quite difficult to leave bones and things down, because you're going to get a bit of a hoo-ha or a fight if you're not there, or you could do. So my main thing is to just make sure they're very comfortable. Usually I leave them with the other pack members, but again, that depends on the dog. You know, it's not a one-size-fits-all, and this is just something that's undertaken quite lightly to go and get another dog. And then when there's problems, you know, people call me and expect me to fix it in 5 minutes, and that's not possible.
A dog psychologist.
Oh,
I can't believe I'm listening to this. You know how I feel about dogs, Teresa. I can't believe I'm listening to this. The dog's stressed out. The poor dog is suffering. Give it some Valium. Put some Valium in its meat.
Well, some people do. I've known dogs that are on Valium. And I know
you are joking, of course.
No, I'm not. I know dogs that are on antidepressants. I know.
How do you know if a dog is depressed?
It sits about a lot of mopes.
Some dogs are like that, no? I mean,
there's a difference, you know. I mean, Bassets will do that.
If you see a bloodhound jumping around like a Springer Spaniel, well, you've got to think he's on something.
No, that's Speed. That's not Valium. Right. That's the other one.
Oh, dear.
They even give them Viagra, so let's not go down that road.
No, let's not. You want more than one companion if you're giving it Viagra, that's for sure.
For dogs that won't perform, there's doggy Viagra.
Yeah, dear, oh dear. I can't believe I'm listening to this. And anyway, I mean, I take in everything you say about dogs, because, as I say, I'm not a dog lover. I'm not a dog person. Although I've had dogs in the past.
Yeah.
And treated them very well. And when they went, you know, and I was a bit sad about it. But over the years, I've become less of a dog person. And living in Selsey and seeing the amount of dog's muck spread everywhere makes me even less of a dog person.
Yeah.
And thankfully, up to yet, I've not seen anybody that's not picked it up, because if I did, I would have to take some form of action.
Oh, yes.
You know.
Yes,
but it's a terrible problem.
My husband doesn't like going out with me anymore, because I go up to them and shout at them or wind the windows down on the car.
Well, with you going out with 5 dogs, you must have to take a dumper truck with you.
Yeah, I take lots of bags.
Yeah. You need a porter to carry him, surely. You get any more dogs. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you there, Teresa.
No, that's
Well, you were
fine.
in full flow.
No, it's you know that's one of my bugbears, picking up poo. I mean, it is law. It's no good saying it should be law. It is law, but it's just catching them.
Yeah. And some of them, some of the people are very aggressive.
Yeah, very.
And when it's pointed out to them, they don't like it.
No.
Cull the dogs, that's what I say.
No, cull the humans.
Oh, all right. There's people nodding and shaking their heads in the studio, I've got to tell you. I don't think I'm the most favourite person in the studio at the minute.
Dear.
Well, thanks for that, Teresa, that insight into companion dogs.
Well, if anyone wants any advice, they can always get in touch with me. My number's freely out there for everyone. Shall I give my number?
Yeah, well, indeed, yes.
Yeah, it's. I'll give you my mobile because some people like to text. It's, if I can remember it, 075 30 70 90 61. And I'm on Facebook, Teresa's Dogs. And just give me a ring or text me, and we'll sort something out. I firmly believe dogs should be with another dog. They are pack animals. But at the same time, there are the odd dogs. I've got one at the moment, a little Daxi. Bless him, he's a sweet dog. His name's Buzz. He's now about 9 months old. And they got another little Daxi to go with him. And it just hasn't worked. So we're now looking for a home for the little bitch. But he loves coming to me. He loves playing with the other dogs. But then he likes to go home and have his peace and quiet and his own place to himself. And so
that's a feeling I know well.
Yeah, may as well.
I can't blame you for that at all.
So you've got to respect that with dogs. That they are all different, just the same as human beings are.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
And sadly, the human beings are in charge of the dogs and not the other way around.
I agree.
And otherwise it might be a different story.
Yeah.
Well, thanks once again, Teresa, for that insight into companion dogs. Okay. And I'm sure we're going to be talking to you about dogs again in the not too distant future.
I hope we will.
Thank you. Changing topics now. The Manhood is blessed with great scenery and wildlife, and one of our groups which does a lot to preserve and enhance it is the Manhood Wildlife and Heritage Group. Keith talks to their chairman, Joe Saville, about the great work they do.
Right, I've got a gentleman with me now that I have spoken to previously, but I only know that side of him, and that's Blue Plaque Joe as I know him. That's Joe Saville. Now, Joe's going to be talking to us today about the Manhood Wildlife and Heritage Group. And I don't know much about those either, but I do know that they take care of East Beach Pond. Now, Joe, tell us a little bit about what else the Manhood Wildlife and Heritage Group does.
Well, basically, I mean, we're a group that started in Selsey, and we started in Selsey, well, actually, it's our 20-year anniversary this year, because we started in 1997. And first of all, we were set up to produce a Selsey parish map, which we still sell, and people might well have got a copy or seen them around the village, which basically recorded what made Selsey special. And that was a millennium project, year 2000, and that was organised by Kim Leslie, the West Sussex Parish Maps Project. So that was one of the intentions of the group. And the second intention of the group was to produce what's called a Phase 1 habitat survey of the parish, which was to record how land is used across the whole of the parish. And from that came, it's a rather grand title, but a biodiversity action plan for Selsey. Simply what we did was went round and recorded where the hedges were, where the woodland was, where the grassland was, and from going round we identified certain sites which obviously have importance. And East Beach Pond was recognised as one of those, so we got involved with Chichester District Council in managing it. Now, we also identified other sites like Selsey Common, which is on Kingsway, which many people might think, well, it's just an area of scrub, area of wasteland, but it's actually incredibly important for migrating birds, for one reason, and also for other invertebrates, also, butterflies, also, I mean, foxes have been there as well,
Yes, I know.
And so that was a very important site, which we again helped to manage in association with Chichester District Council. We also helped to manage, we got involved in helping to design Manor Green Park, and we now have volunteers help to manage that site. We also identified Crablands Farm Meadow, which people might notice, which is just adjacent to Drift Lane. That's a site of, it's an SNCI, a site of nature conservation importance because of the orchids which are there. And so we regularly count the orchids there.
Oh, right.
And that's an also important site for other wildlife. So the Biodiversity Action Plan identified these sites, and then from there, from working in Selsey, we actually managed to get a grant from the lottery to employ a Selsey Wildlife Project Officer, and they were in post for about 3 years to help sort of implement that plan in Selsey. And then over time, it was obviously a natural progression to move out across the Manhood. So we're now involved in projects across the Manhood and managing other sites, quite a few pond sites in Siddlesham, and we also run large projects as well. One of the major projects we've just got funding for from the lottery is called Flow, Fixing and Linking Our Wetlands. And what the point of that is to go across the peninsula to assess all the ditches, all the ponds, all the hedgerows, and then try to link them up to create good networks for wildlife, but also to create wetlands which help manage water for people, helping to reduce flood risk. So it's got
In this area, that's always got to be a very good thing.
Absolutely, because it's very flat, and it's got benefits for both wildlife and people. So that's a very important project we're involved with at the moment.
Is the group run by volunteers?
It's a purely volunteer-run group, and it always has been. We're very fortunate that because of grants, we have managed to employ people. So that's been very useful to us, obviously. But it's, we have about 75 members. And perhaps different to other organisations, almost all our members are active volunteers. So we're very much a volunteer-run, community-based organisation.
Now, if somebody wanted to volunteer and join you, who do they contact?
Well, they could certainly contact me in the first instance. They could, if they want details, they can go to the website. We have a website, www.mwhg.org.uk. But they can contact me, Joe Saville. We also actually are just taking over an office in Selsey Town Council, which is the committee rooms. People won't know, it's a sort of hidden room above Selsey Town Hall, but that will be our office and our base. So later, when that's more developed, people can come and see us there. But yes, I mean, we actively want to get people involved. That we can only do what we can do because of our volunteers. And the more volunteers we've got, the more we can do.
And how many volunteers have you got?
Well, we've got about 75 volunteers.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it has in the past been up over 100 volunteers. It varies. But as I say, most of our volunteers are encouraged to join the group, and most of our members are active volunteers.
Well, that's always good to hear, because sometimes you get people volunteering for projects or to join a group, and they actually volunteer and put their name down, and then they don't show up very often. And so you might have a list of 100 people, but only 40 ever turn up to do anything. I know that does happen with other groups in the area. So if you'd like to join Joe and the rest of the group, you can look on their website, as Joe said, or you can contact Joe himself. And how are they going to do that, Joe?
Right, well, probably I suppose the easiest way for most people is sort of by sort of email, I suppose. That's Joe Saville, and that's just double L with no E, at fsmail.net. So Joe Saville at fsmail.net, or via the town hall. Yeah, leave their name at the town hall, that would be fine. We're actively actually looking for volunteers for Manor Green Park at the moment, because sometimes our group, like East Beach Pond, they've got a nice settled group of volunteers. They probably don't need any more for that particular site. But other people like to get attached to a site, but we're particularly looking for volunteers at Manor Green Park at the moment, so they could leave their name in the Selsey Community Centre and the Selsey Centre, and that would be great.
Well, there you go. If you'd like to help out with Manhood Wildlife and Heritage Group, and specifically or especially in the area of Manor Green Park, then do what Joe says and contact them, and you can get out there and give them a hand.
Yeah, the thing is about volunteering, we have jobs, all different kinds of tasks people can do. They're not all sort of active practical tasks. So if you can't do those type of tasks, we have a lot of tasks like inputting data. That's very important because we do a lot of survey work, and those survey records have got to be put somewhere, writing things for us, research for us. So there's all kind of tasks for all kinds of ages and abilities.
Well, there you go. Nobody should be left out then.
Nobody at all.
Well, thanks once again, Joe, for coming in and enlightening us a little bit about the Manhood Wildlife and Heritage Group. Now I know a bit more about what they do, and not just East Beach Pond, but that gives you a clue, of course, of the area that I live in.
Yes, yeah.
But thanks once again, Joe, and it's been lovely to see you, and let's hope you get lots of volunteers.
Well, thanks for giving me the opportunity. Thanks.
No problem.
Thank you, gentlemen. Now it's time to go to Keith's kitchen. So, what's on the recipe today, Keith?
Well, welcome once again to Keith's Kitchen, and this week we've got a couple of very tasty recipes for you. And the first one is beef pot roast with potatoes and dill, and this will serve 6 people, and this is what we need: 2.5 tablespoonsful of plain flour, 1 teaspoonful of salt, 1/4 teaspoonful of pepper, 1 rolled brisket joint weighing 1.6 kilos, 2 tablespoonsful of vegetable oil, 2 tablespoonsful of butter, 1 onion finely chopped, 2 celery sticks diced, 2 carrots peeled and diced, 1 teaspoon of dill seed, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme or oregano, 350 ml of red wine, 100 to 225 ml of beef stock, 4 to 5 potatoes cut into large chunks and boiled until just tender, and 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh dill to serve. And this is what we do. Preheat the oven to 140 degrees centigrade, that's 275 Fahrenheit, or gas mark 1. Mix 2 tablespoons of flour with the salt and pepper in a shallow dish. Dip the meat to coat, and then heat in the oil in a flame-proof casserole and brown the meat all over, then transfer to a plate. Add half the butter to the casserole and cook the onion, celery, carrots, dill seed and thyme for 5 minutes. Return the meat and juices to the casserole. Pour in the wine and enough stock to reach 1/3 of the way up the meat. Bring to the boil and cover and cook in the oven for 2 hours. Don't forget to turn the meat every 30 minutes or so that it all gets done properly. Add the potatoes to the casserole with a little more stock if necessary, and return to the oven for a further hour. When ready, transfer the meat and potatoes to a warm serving dish. Strain the cooking liquid to remove any solids, then return the liquid to the casserole. Mix the remaining butter and flour to a paste. Bring the cooking liquid to a boil. Whisk in small pieces of the flour and butter paste, whisking constantly until the sauce is smooth, and pour the sauce over the meat and potatoes, and then sprinkle with the fresh dill to serve. Very, very tasty. Lovely dish. Beef pot roast with potatoes and dill. And just so that the local butchers don't get all the business, our next recipe is a seafood one. And this is seafood in saffron sauce. And this will serve 4 people, and this is what we need: 225 grams of live mussels, 225 grams of live clams, 2 tablespoonsful of olive oil, 1 onion sliced, a pinch of saffron threads, 1 tablespoonful of chopped fresh thyme, 2 garlic cloves finely chopped, 800 grams of canned tomatoes drained and chopped, 175 ml of dry white wine, 2 litres of fish stock, 350 grams of red mullet fillets cut into bite-sized chunks, 450 grams of monkfish fillets cut into bite-sized chunks, 225 grams of raw squid rings, 2 tablespoonsful of fresh shredded basil leaves, and salt and pepper, and some fresh crusty bread to serve. And this is what we do. Clean the mussels and clams by scrubbing or scraping the shells and pulling out any beards that are attached to the mussels, and discard any with broken shells and any that refuse to close when they're tapped. Now heat the oil in a large flame-proof casserole and cook the onion with the saffron, the thyme and a pinch of salt over a low heat, stirring it occasionally for 5 minutes or until it's softened. Add the garlic and cook, stirring for another 2 minutes. Add the tomatoes, the wine and stock, and season to taste with salt and pepper and stir well, and bring to the boil, then reduce the heat and simmer for 15 minutes. Add the fish chunks and simmer for a further 3 minutes. Add the clams, mussels and squid rings and simmer for a further 5 minutes or until the mussels and clams have opened. Discard any that remain closed, of course, don't want those. Stir in the basil and serve immediately, accompanied by plenty of fresh crusty bread to mop up the broth. So that's seafood in saffron sauce. And if you're a seafood person, I would guess that that's a very, very tasty dish.
Thank you, Keith. Now, what is worrying our Roberta? Let's find out.
Hello, my name's Roberta and this is one of my ramblings. I don't know about you, but I get thoroughly fed up with all the experts warning us of the dangers of everyday life. You can't read the papers, watch or listen to the news, but some horrendous mishap is just around the corner should we continue down the route we have chosen. Their latest being our Sunday roast. It must be taken off the menu or we are all doomed. Rather an exaggeration, I admit, but there is this constant drip, drip, drip of negative information being fed to us virtually every day. Sitting and eating my almost burnt toast, another dangerous habit, I felt stirrings of rebellion as I recalled an email that I had received, which was an imaginary conversation between the doctor and his patient. This had made me laugh. Best therapy there is, laughter. So I'd like to share it with you. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. Doctor, would it be wise for me to do more cardio exercise? Will it help me live longer? Heart only good for so many beats. That it. Don't waste time on exercise. Everything wear out eventually. Speeding up heart not make him live longer. It like saying you extend life of car for driving faster. Want to live longer? Take a nap. Well, should I cut back on my alcohol intake? Oh, no. Wine made from fruit. Brandy, distilled wine. That mean they take water out of fruity bit, but you get even more of fruity goodness that way. Beer also made of grain, bottom up. Well, how do I work out my body fat ratio? Well, if you have body and you have fat, your ratio 1-to-1 pretty good. Well, there must be some advantage of a regular exercise program. No, can't think of single one. Sorry. My philosophy, no pain, good. Well, aren't fried foods bad for you? You not listening. Food fried in vegetable oil. How getting more vegetable be bad? Well, will sit-ups prevent me from getting a little soft around the middle? Oh no. When you exercise muscle, it get bigger. You should only do sit-up if you want bigger stomach. Is chocolate bad for me? You're crazy? Hello. Cocoa bean. Another vegetable. It best feel good around. And would swimming be good for my figure? If swimming good for figure, you explain whale to me. Well then, is getting in shape important in my lifestyle? Round is shape. What you not understand? Well, this made me laugh and promised myself not to take too seriously all the experts' discoveries. Oh, I feel another ramble coming on here. Where on earth does all the money come from to fund the research into some of the most ridiculous things? I mean, whoever thought... Sorry, I diversify. Personally, I shall now apply the following philosophy. After all, what is the point of worrying? Life should not be a journey to the grave with the intention of arriving safely in an attractive and well-preserved body, but rather to skid sideways. Chardonnay in one hand, chocolate in the other. Body thoroughly used up, totally worn out and screaming, "Woohoo, what a ride!" Well, fare thee well for now. I'm off to write another ramble. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Roberta. With that, we've come to the end of the show, so it just remains for me to thank all our contributors, including Local Life magazine, our sound editor John Mallett, our presenters Alison, Kevin and Keith, and not forgetting, of course, our producer John Fletcher. So it's goodbye from me, Tony Weiner. Until next time, bye.